confidentiality. What happens in focus group stays in focus group.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Speak your truth.
What's that mean?
Basically, say what you gotta say about somebody sitting down.
Thank you, sir. And last one.
Step up, step back.
What's that mean?
Say your piece and then come back.
Say rules, chicks. All right, guys. So very happy to introduce one of my good friends. Been knowing him since high school. Tech guy, created all kind of websites. He probably could just, elaborate on all the accolades that he has, but I remember he did when Tupac had the Machiavelli branded clothing line, he designed that website. He did Sport One consulting, I think it's a consulting company, all kind of stuff. Man, been knowing the guy for years, really good dude. I'm gonna give it to him because we only got 30 minutes, so this is Khari Clemens, everybody. Give him a hand.
Sorry, taken. So he gave me too much accolades. I'm a regular dude. But so, like you said, my name is Khari Clemens, and basically, I'm here to talk to you about life in the corporate world, in the tech world. So, I'm a programmer by trade. I started off as a graphic designer in high school. I was doing that at first. I'm not even gonna lie. I was starting off doing graffiti, and that started getting me into trouble. So I started switching up. I started doing graphic art, and then I really started realizing that people really like my art. So I started doing flyers for people, album covers for people, different things like that. And eventually people started asking me for more and more stuff. So I started saying, okay, well, what else can I do? So then one day somebody asked me, can you do a website? And I'm like, I'll figure out how to do it. I got some friends that know how to do a website. I'll put it together, made it happen. It was a terrible disaster. It wasn't that good at all. But it really taught me about what it takes to actually get into the game of actually doing web design and things like that. So who here knows what programming is? Go ahead, bro.
Basically, it's like, there's multiple forms of it, but it's just like, for example, like you can do video game programming, which is basically like figuring out like the concepts, like when things happen and stuff like that, and like the randomness of changes in the game or whatever. Like basically like the little things that make the game work or whatever work.
That's right, that's right. In the tech world, that's the correct answer. Now, in the root of programming actually is to get something to behave in a certain manner. So for example, your coach, when you might be playing football, you might run track, whatever, when he's out there telling you what to do, how to run, do whatever, he's programming you and programming your body to work in a certain way. Now, when you're in the tech world, you enter in code, you're on a computer, you're programming the computer to react a certain way. You may be able to make an application, you may be making a website, you may be making a video game. I've done all of those things. Now, a lot of people think that to get into the tech world to do programming, you have to be real smart, you gotta be real good at mathematics, you gotta do all these things, and I'm gonna tell you right now, those things help, but it's not necessarily true. I wasn't really good in math when I was in school. I like math, it's all right, but really what's more important is to be creative. You gotta be able to have different ways to think about things, because when you're sitting down at a computer, it's not gonna tell you what to do. It's not gonna say, here's the math and how to do it. You're gonna have to try to think of all kinds of different ways to make something happen the way that you wanna make it happen. So that's the first thing, because a lot of people think, I can never do it, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. That's not true. Think about our last president, George Bush. He wasn't that smart, but he had the most hardest job in our nation, and he was leader of this country, even though I think he was kind of stupid. So that just goes to show you that it's not always the intelligence that makes you able to do these jobs. It's really your determination. If you can get in there and say, this is really what I want to do, and I got creative ways that I'm going to do it, you can make pretty much anything happen. So for me, I'm pretty stubborn. I find a way to get through with something, trying to make it happen. Whether I think it's going to happen or not, I just keep trying. And with programming, with video game making, with making websites, that's usually the case. It's a lot of trial and error. You're sitting down, you're working, you're trying to make something happen, boom, it doesn't work. You got to think of a different way to make it happen. Kind of like when you date a girl, you want to date a girl, if you come up with those same whack pickup lines that's just regular, it ain't gonna work. She'll be like, whatever, it ain't happening like that. But if you persist and you coming at it in a different way, then you might be able to get that hot girl. It's the same thing with programming. You gotta find different ways to be creative and find your way to get through, to get things to act the way that you want them to act. Now, before I came up here today, I didn't know what I was gonna wear. I was like, man, should I come real nice? Should I come in a suit? Should I come dressed in a certain way? What should I do? And there's one thing in the tech world actually just in the corporate world in general, when you don't know what to expect, dress to impress. Because, a lot of us in here got the same skin tone. And when you go out to the corporate world, people look at you and they be like, you probably can't do this. I don't know about you. You probably don't even need to go play basketball or something, whatever. They have this whole stereotype about what they think you can do. But if you come in, you look like this, you look a little nicer, automatically it gives them a different look at you. They're like, okay, well, maybe this person might know a little bit more than I think they do. Let me go ahead and listen to them a little bit closer. And so, of course, I put on this little suit. I'm not gonna lie, this is uncomfortable. I don't even like this.
But you look good though. You look good.
I try to, you know what I'm saying? But this ain't even like what I like to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get comfortable if you don't mind.
Oh, look.
So I got like, the suit.
Oh, whoa.
Look. On the street, that's how you see it. Right? Now this is a whole different. Now I don't just walk in here looking like this because you guys would be like, "Where's this dude? He's a programmer." Now, and if I walk into a job wearing something that said "destroy everything," so I would have a job to be walking into. But in the corporate world, you have to know how to switch up. You have to know how to do that. You can't just walk in, being your ordinary self. You have to go in, playing the game, knowing exactly what you're going to be going to do in there. Because I'm telling you, when you walk in, people are going to have their preconceived notions of who you are. Now, I could tell you guys a whole lot about programming, a whole lot about code and all that kind of stuff, but we could probably save that for a future presentation or a future talk. What I really want to get you guys to learn about today is to be motivated, knowing that you can do whatever you want to do as long as you put your mind towards it. I didn't start off thinking I was going to be in the tech world. Like I said, when I went to school, I went to the Academy of Art College for like 2 years. I couldn't afford to stay there for that long. It was just too expensive. My family couldn't afford it. I didn't have the kind of right credit to go ahead and get the kind of loans that I wanted, but I knew what I wanted to do. I went there to do 3D computer animation. I thought I was going to be doing like Toy Story, Pixar type of stuff. And so I went there to do that, and I really liked it. And then one day, a friend of mine sat me down and said, "Oh, you gotta take a look at this website, man. It's really cool." And I'm like, "Man, I'm trying to do my work right now, man. I'm over here studying." He said, "No, stop what you're doing. Come over here. You gotta see this right now." So I was like, all right, put the stuff away. I go look, and I sit down, and I saw something that blew my mind. And I was like, wow. And it was a Flash website. Now, you guys have probably heard of Flash. Anybody know what Flash is? It's dead now. But for a while, Flash websites didn't exist. Back in the day, this was like 1998, when websites were kind of just starting to grow. There wasn't really much, and they were really static, meaning that they didn't do a whole lot. It would be a regular page, it wasn't moving, wasn't no JPEG graphics, wasn't that other kind of stuff. It was just regular stuff. And that was the norm. That's what everybody was used to. So when I saw this Flash website, and it was moving around, and it was music and animation, all that stuff, I was like, whoa, what is this? And just like that, something went off in my head.
Hey, there you go.
So it was just like that, right? And that changed my world, because that to me showed me that I could open up a whole new world of possibilities from the stuff I like to do, with the animation and the multimedia, and I could bring that to the tech world. So that switched automatically. And so at that point, I'm not gonna lie, I had to leave school, because like I said, I couldn't afford it anymore. But like I also told you, I'm stubborn, I'm determined. So what I did was I went to my friend's school, and I snuck into his school. He went to this college over in Fremont as well, and I used to tell him, "Hey, wake up, it's time to go to school, man." He'd be like, "I don't want to go to school." I was like, "Look, dude, I can't afford to go to mine, I'm going to yours." You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So I would go to school with him, sneak into his class, and sit right next to him and get on the computers and do whatever I could. One day, the principal found out, and she was like, she pulled me in to the side and said, "Look, I know you don't go to this school, but I see you bring him here every day, and he doesn't come unless you're here. So I'm not gonna tell nobody, but you can keep on coming here as long as you bring him." And I was like, wow, to me, I was like honored. I was like, okay, I'm getting a free education just because I'm bringing my boy to school. So the reason I tell you that is because, one, determination will get you a long way. Even if you don't have the resources, even if you don't have the money, it's all about what you plan to do. If you can get out there and actually make it happen, you can get a whole lot further. So when I was in this school, I was there for I stayed there for about 7 months. And while I was there, I was studying, I was looking at the websites, I was trying to work on the stuff out, and at the same time, I'm listening to what his teachers are saying, and I'm putting together my resume because I was broke. I was trying to find a job at the same time. So after about the end of 7 months, I put together a little multimedia resume because I figured a paper one wasn't gonna be good enough. So I started putting some graphics with my name, with some animation in it, and I started sending that out. And boom, I got a job right away. Now, this was probably the highest paying job I had at the time. I was like 19. And this was like I said, it was like 1998 or something like that. And I started making $70,000 off the bat. And I didn't know what to do with that kind of money. You know, I never had no kind of money like that at all. And I was like, wow, I went from making nothing to making 70 grand just because I went and put myself out there. And so I got into the job, had the gift of gab, you know what I'm saying, be able to talk to people, be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And they let me into the job. And so basically what I was able to do was learn while I was on the job. And you'll learn in the tech field, that is really important, because there's a lot of times, because tech is moving so fast, that you won't know all the technology right away. But if you can learn it on the job, then you can actually get that job and get better, and you can get better and better and better jobs. So as time went on, I went from that job, I went to a better job, I went to a better job, and eventually I started working for myself. So for the past, let's see, maybe 13 years now or something like that, I've only worked for other companies for maybe 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years. The rest of the time, I've always done my own thing. And I always stress to people that that's really important. You gotta have both sides. You wanna work for somebody sometimes because you need to know what it's like to actually be in the corporate environment, to see what it's like to have a manager above your head, to work with other groups of people, to make stuff happen in that environment. But if you can, try to do your own thing as well, because that's where the real money is like. You can make money working in corporate America, but if you really want to make bigger money, you're going to be working for yourself, having people work for you. Like, you know, Steve Jobs, who rest in peace, you know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be rich if he was just working for somebody else. Bill Gates, all these other people would not be rich if they were just working for somebody else. They were the people that just said, you know what, I'm going to step out, I'm going to go ahead and do this thing on my own, I'm going to make it happen. So a lot of you guys in here are probably friends, you know, and that's a good thing. One good thing about working in an environment where you're around other people is to make those connections. To have the friends that you can lean on, that you can say, hey, I got this idea, let's put this thing together. When I was, I'll give you a good example of that, and please forgive me if I'm jumping all over the place, but I'll give you a real good example. I had a job one time that I was not ready for. I was 21 years old, and I walked into this company in my suit, looking like that, looking like I knew what I was really doing. I walked in, talked to the guy, said, I want a management position, blah, 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 and because of my portfolio, my work, they really believed that I can go ahead and do this. And because I could talk real good, I was able to get a manager at that place. Now, this is a while ago. After about a month or two, not only did I realize I wasn't ready for that job, but so did the managers. They're just like, you know what, we hired you, but you ain't really ready for this. So I had to basically just man up and say, okay, how do I do this? Because I'm not ready for this job. I'm underqualified, but I gotta make it happen. This dude that I know, named Brandon, he saw the same thing. And he had been there for a while. He pulled me to the side, he said, you know what, brother, you're not ready for this job. And at first I was like, you can't go tell me that, man, I already know, but I ain't trying to hear from you like that. He was like, no, look, you ain't ready for this job, but I'm gonna get you ready. And so what he did was, every day after work, we spent 2 hours, and he would pull me aside into this little room and basically school me about the corporate world and what it took. Because I was fresh out of college, I didn't know any of this stuff. He would go on the whiteboard and be like, this is what they expect, this is what you gotta do, this is what they think about you, this is how you gotta look. All these different things to school me about what it took to get into this game. And that was probably some of the best training I had. So the reason I say that is because these friends that you got here, make sure that you keep those connections. You guys need to support each other, because in the corporate world, ain't nobody else gonna do it for you. We gotta stick together. Nobody else in that company pulled me to the side and said, hey brother, I'm gonna help you out. Nobody. It was somebody else, another black brother like myself, who said, look, they're not gonna treat you right. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how you can excel in this company. And because of that training, I've been able to do a whole lot. And that's also another reason why I come back and talk to brothers like yourselves. Because when I was younger, nobody was helping us out like this. I mean, there wasn't nobody really in the tech game to come and say, hey, this is what you do, this is what you do. And so now we have more people that are in the tech game, but there's still not a whole lot of us. And if you go out and you get into corporate America, you're gonna find out that you're almost by yourself. And whenever I go to a job and I work for somebody, I'm usually the only black guy there. And so it's difficult, because I walk in and they don't expect me to know anything. They treat me like I'm not gonna know nothing, and I have to really put on this front. I can't dress like this, I gotta put on my suit, I gotta come in there and act almost like a whole different person. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. Which one do you think is me? Suit or this? See, that's what everybody says, but the truth is, they're both me. You have to know how to switch. You have to know how to go back and forth. That's crucial. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is me comfortable, that's me professional, but they are both me. And that's the most important thing I can tell you. When you get in there, know how to switch, know how to play the game, know how to talk to people a certain way, know how to carry yourself. Your presentation precedes you. So when people look at you, if they know that you're a person of integrity, they know that you get the job done, it really doesn't matter how you look. Because if you're taking care of all the business, they can't say nothing. If you coming in, your pants are sagging, whatever else, you ain't getting your job done, whatever else, then they can say a whole lot. But your presentation and your integrity is really, really important in regards to corporate America. Because I'm telling you, it's difficult out there. And we have to, as brothers, not only as brothers, as black men, we have to step up a little bit further and a little bit harder than a lot of other people do. I've seen people get loans, I've seen people get investments, millions of dollars for stuff that I've tried to get, and it just hasn't worked because I walk in looking like this, and they don't believe that I should get the money for it. So we actually have to try a little bit harder because of that. Now, it's not fair, but that's the reality of the situation. So when I come here to tell you about this, it's to warn you ahead of time. When you're in school, when you're here, you gotta start paying attention to the game now. Just like we know on the street, you gotta have that hustle, right? You gotta have that work, gift of gab, know how to talk to make sure that you get this. So people ain't thinking you're a buster. When you get into the corporate world, it's the exact same thing. You gotta get in there and basically with, put up front, like, I know exactly what I'm talking about, this, and that. Sometimes you might not know exactly what you're talking about. But you gotta make it look that way until you can actually learn the whole thing, learn the whole game. Now, how many of you are interested in becoming programmers? This guy, you gotta answer the question, okay? So I see 3 of you. You too? Kind of sort of, you're just scratching the afro. Maybe, all right. Why do you wanna be a programmer?
Well, for one, it's something that I seem like I would have fun with because I like video games and I like computers. And on top of that, the money's very well, and it seems like a very job that I can have a lot of growth in.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. His answer was good. Now, the reason I asked that is because a lot of people sometimes their main answer is for the money. And I'll tell you right now, if your only reason is for the money, I got bad news for you. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like it. If you get into programming just for the money, you're gonna burn out and you're not gonna be lasting long to get right out because it's hard, it's difficult, and you have to be creative. Now me, I honestly don't really like the code part of programming. I'm a creative person. I don't like to just sit there and just go like this. But I love what comes out of it. I love seeing the result. I love seeing my stuff on the screen or on a billboard or on a touch screen monitor or something like that and seeing it work. That is what drives me to keep going through it. If I just did it for the money, I would have stopped years ago. Because I would have said, man, forget this, man, this is hard, man, I don't even like this, it's boring, I gotta sit here, my back hurts. I know a lot of programmers, they look like this, which is why I stay in the gym a lot, because I don't want to have a hunchback from sitting in a chair all day. You have to find another reason than just the money to keep you motivated, to keep you going. And that goes with any profession. If you go into sports, if you're just doing it for the money, you're not really gonna be a good athlete. You're just being in it for the money, but you won't have that drive to actually make you go. So when you get into your profession, no matter what it is, whether it's programming, sports, or accounting, whatever else it's gonna be, find a reason to keep yourself motivated, to keep going. Not just for the money. Money will come. Money's great. Your money is good in the tech industry, don't get me wrong, but it cannot be your main drive. You have to make that like second or third, because it's not gonna push you. Find 2 or 3 other things that will make you say, every day when I get up, this is what I wanna do. Every day when I get up, I have a reason to be motivated about this, not just for the cash. And if you think about it that way, and you're actually pushing yourself to have this desire to actually do it, the money comes. Don't get me wrong, the money comes. Sometimes it's not there, most of the time it is there. As long as you have the heart and desire to do what you want to do. Now, let me look at my notes, I'm forgetting stuff real quick.
Just time crunch. We got like 9 minutes.
We got like 9 minutes.
Yep.
8 minutes. Nice and precise. That's all good. All right. Now I got a couple of keywords here. All right. People want to know. Let's see. Actually, you put this one. Anybody got a favorite video game? Oh, you guys are all other questions. Yeah. NBA 2K. I have a friend. He actually starred in that game, NBA 2K. Now I think in one of the games you have a friend who's supposed to be your not your coach, but he's like your what's that?
Like your agent?
Yeah, he's like your agent. You got like a real short fade, kind of like that's my friend Chris. And he did that a couple of years ago, and they basically called him into it. Now the reason I'm asking about this is because a lot of you didn't say you want to be programmers. But there's different ways that you can get into the tech field without having to actually do programming. I mean, there's artists, there's actors, there's people that do, motion capture. You can do hardware, you can do software, you can do all these different types of things and still be in that field. So you can still be making video games without sitting behind a computer. There's a lot of different ways to get into the field, and a lot of people are inspired by games. When I was young, and I know I'm gonna sound really old, but when I was young, I had an Atari 2600, and that's like, yeah, you're like, dang, it was like ancient, right? But that's what came out right before the Nintendo. And then my next video game system was Nintendo. I remember for Christmas, I got a Nintendo. It came with Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and Zelda, which I don't even know if half y'all even heard of those.
I know Zelda,
Right. But as soon as I saw that, I was hooked. And I was like, oh man, I want to make video games. I want to make video games. And just something just about it just really attracted me to it because it was so cool. I could see something happening on the screen. And ever since then, I had a desire to actually move forward in that path. Now, it didn't actually turn out to just automatically get into video games. I had to go a whole different route. I had to do the art thing, find out how that worked. I had to do the video thing to find out how multimedia worked. I had to find out how websites worked. And all of this stuff, I finally got into the game industry just last year. After doing all this other stuff for however many years, I finally started making games last year. I started working for this company named Tryon Worlds, and they make PC games. So I know you guys heard of Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
So they have a game called Trove, and it's just like Minecraft and Zelda put together. So it's a voxel-based game. You can build stuff, but you can also, adventure and everything. And I'll be honest with you, the game industry is not always cracked up to be. Everybody thinks you're gonna go there and be working, it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. It can be, but 9 times out of 10, it's not like that. When you're there, you're working around a whole lot of people who don't have good personalities. They don't know how to deal with people. They're very, uptight because they're just like this all the time, So you have to be able to not only deal with that, but be prepared that what you might want to go into might not be where you end up. You're gonna have to learn to go a roundabout to get to where you want to be. You got a question, brother?
Not anymore.
Go ahead. What was it?
I was gonna ask like something that's not really very important, but I was just gonna be like, are you usually out of shape too?
Yeah, a lot of people are out of shape. So the reason I know that is because the guy that introduced me to website design had a hunchback. And this guy, he was like a really cool hacker. He used to find out how to get, credit card numbers. I don't get all into that stuff. But this guy was really smart in regards to hacking and everything. So I used to hang around him, but he was always like this. He'd just walk around because all he'd be on his computer like that. And I looked at him, I said, man, never that. I can't be like that. I grew up, I was running track, I was doing all this kind of stuff. And I realized I wanted my body to get in shape, not just my mind. I needed to be all the way around, to make sure I'm not only getting my mind right, but getting my body right. Because that's important. When you're working like that and you're constantly sitting down, your blood slows down, your heart doesn't work the same way, your muscles start to atrophy. And if that starts happening, then your mind will start to do the same thing. Because your body will start to get, slower and slower, and your mind will have to try to keep up with that, and it makes you tired and tired and tired. And if you're tired trying to program, you're not gonna make nothing. I'm telling you, it's very mentally taxing to be able to just go all the time. So one of the ways that I counteract that is to be in the gym. Make sure that I'm keeping my body up, everything going. So by the time I get back to the computer, I'm like, woo, I feel good. I can do whatever I want to. Let's get this going, blah, blah, blah. It's important to stay in balance. So that's not a bad question, man. It's actually very important to stay in balance. A lot of programmers forget that. And you'll see a lot of them have really bad, like performance. If they have very bad posture, they'll have very bad, just structure of their body. Being in balance is very important, not only in your job, but just in life in general. So if you're gonna be getting into this thing where you're in the tech field, make sure you take care of your body too. You wanna keep everything in balance so that everything kind of works the same way. It's like when I was younger, I used to run track. My dad used to tell me, when you're running, you breathe to the steps, right? Everything in balance. When your body's in balance, you run better. When you're playing football, when you're doing whatever, if you're breathing in accordance to how you move, everything works better. It's the same thing when you're working. You want to keep your mind in balance, you want to keep yourself in balance, also you want to keep your image in balance. You want to make sure that when people look at you, they know that you're a person of integrity, they know that you're getting the job done, they know that you're going to come in and they can depend on you. Because programming, it's a lot of times, you're very independent, you're on your own. You don't have people right there working with you, pushing the buttons for you. It's you. So you got to make sure that you are very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Solid. You have to be very solid in what you say and what you do, because when people give you a project, they walk away. I'll be back. I want that done when I get back. And it's all on you. So you have to make sure that what you say you're gonna do is what you really do, and you really come through with it. Otherwise, people will be like, oh, we can't give that project to Cardi. Last time he didn't even finish that. Or he said he's gonna come to this meeting, he didn't even show up. I can't give that to him. So, I'm gonna close with this. I'm gonna close with that. Anyway, I'm gonna close with this. I'm gonna say, look, it's very important that you guys, first of all, think about what you wanna do. If it's programming, don't just think about the programming by itself. Think about the industry. Think about things that are involved with it, because you might not just end up in programming. There might be other things that you have to go through before you get to where you want to be. So I'll close out with that. I'll probably come back and talk to you guys again. You know, you guys are very good looking, super set of brother. You got some good questions and stuff. And I got a whole lot more stuff I can share with you. But I just want to start off talking about the motivation and what it gets into. You guys have any questions? I'll go ahead. What's up?
I got a quick question about the suit. Like when they put on the suit, does it make you feel better like about yourself?
It definitely
How
does.
people might look at you?
Definitely. I'm gonna tell you like this. Before I came here, I went to Starbucks, right? And I'm, putting my little cream and stuff in my coffee. And this Indian guy, he says, "Hey man, you look real sharp, man. You looking real good. You going to work?" And I was like, "Thank you, brother. I'm actually gonna go give a lecture to some